Hey, everybody. It's Thursday. It's the return of Orange Card, Blue Card. I'm Sam Tate. I'm joined here by Colby Cram. Colby, thanks for joining me this week, man.
You're welcome, Sam.
I've got a lot of stuff that I want to talk about, mostly about organized play in the year 2023. That's been the hottest of topics, but I wanted to give it a week, give Jasco a chance to hear some feedback, maybe change their minds because we've seen this in the past where like more clarifications are needed or maybe like a small tweak or an oversight happens. So I wanted to let things cool down just a little bit, and we did get some changes, but I don't know if they're the changes that everyone was looking for. I think that when it comes to a lot of the changes that people were looking for, they were looking for something more akin to the regional style, the regional pricing from last year. And a big part of it is we haven't gotten a ton of updates on the prize wall, but they did announce what promos you're going to get, reveal those promos, and they did have a little tagline for like which promos are going to be on the prize walls. How did you feel about that?
Yeah, so for regional promos specifically, I think a lot of people are disappointed that there's no character, or at least not one announced. There's no alt
Mm.
character like they did the three regional seasons last year. All had an alternate art character as like your guaranteed participation prize.
Yeah, that was
Um,
super weird to me. I was like looking for it when I did my like live stream
yeah,
reaction. I was like, oh, I missed the character, but there isn't one.
yeah, and a chibi character seems like an easy sell, right? Like some people are super into that. So like,
If you're into chibi art, you would like we did the chibi seventh cross characters, and people love those, right?
I don't think I've ever played against a seventh cross opponent that wasn't using all chibis.
Yeah,
I don't know if those decks exist actually.
like I'm a notorious hater of the seventh cross sets, but even I got to admit that like the chibi characters was a slam dunk idea.
Yeah, and the art assets they're reusing are all kind of in character poses. So it's not like they
Mm.
couldn't have picked one to be a character or found one to be a character because they're all sort of in fairly static poses.
I
Um,
I might piss a lot of people off with this one, but that's a lot of cards to me in general.
yeah, that's true. That's fair.
there there's like every Shigaraki attack is like just not him attacking, right? He's just
Yeah,
he's just doing a character pose.
I think part of that is um, using an anime license, right? Where you're using, or at least originally, a ton of screen grabs.
Yeah.
So for Shigaraki, you have to produce 4 attacks out of season one, for instance, in set one. He doesn't really do a whole lot, and that's combat wise. So yeah,
Yeah.
it's just kind of the restriction of me. Or like when we did Cowboy Bebop, like we've got attacks that are just people standing around or spaceships flying by. Like
Yeah, it's rough. I understand it. It's just funny to me. That's like how it goes a lot of the time. I'm almost positive Gecko Stomp is not him attacking, but him jumping in the air to just hit someone with his.
yeah, probably. I don't. I mean, I haven't rewatched that season recently, but I it is probably just him jumping.
Yeah.
Or dodging an attack, even just like jumping to evade an attack.
Yeah.
For the prize wall, I didn't go to Vegas, so I'm not really. I don't have firsthand experience on how they even handled the prize wall.
Right.
Um, it is probably better if they can manage it correctly. Like I know we had one local who went. One of our newer players, Jordan, went to Vegas. He was our only local that went, and he was complaining about like certain promos they only had one or two of, like season one promos that they just didn't have any supply of at all. So somebody played like 1 or 2 rounds, then immediately dropped to
Right.
cash in on like the only midnight or whatever. So I think that's good in theory. I don't know how it'll work out in practice.
Yeah, so I of course was doing commentary the whole time. So I didn't really get to experience the prize wall. I didn't get any tickets. Everything I heard about it was that it was a big success. It's an idea that apparently has come from, I think, DBS or some other
Yeah,
Bandai
for
game,
sure.
where it's a success over there. So it sounds like a good idea so far. It's just the thing was like it was introduced at that event as like a bonus way to get prizing at an event you had already gone all the way out to Vegas to participate in, the
Yeah.
premiere event, the sealed and stuff like that. And then now it's being supplemented instead of promos that people were expecting. So the sooner that people get more information on like how difficult is it going to be to get stuff off the prize wall is probably better because they haven't listed any. They've listed like how many tickets you get, but I don't think they've listed the price for anything.
Yeah, they haven't listed the prices. According to the info they've listed, we also know that like the Shigaraki promo, you just can't buy on the prize wall. So you just like top or don't get it.
Right. Which
Um,
I'm okay with that, like having
yeah,
some
it's fine.
exclusivity to pricing, right?
It's fine. Yeah. Yeah, I think there's that, or you make it like super expensive, right? I don't know. So that like you'd have to win a side event maybe and do well in a second one or something in order to buy it. I don't know. Um, I
If
think
you
there's a
win
space
two
for
side
it.
events, that's as good as topping, right?
But I mean, when it comes
600.
to something like a prize wall, probably. They are there sort of to encourage playing in side events, which is something they need because Jasco has struggled with side events in general. Like um, teams at Dallas, the prize support was like 4 booster packs. You had to divide between 3 people, and you got one of each of the promo, and there were 4. It was something wacky like that. Like
It
it wasn't
really
even
wasn't
one
thought
copy
out.
per person.
Yeah, I we ended up going like X01, I think, or I only played in one team's event and it was in Pasadena.
Hmm.
And there ended up being like a four-way tie from like an 8-team event or something. It was really wacky. And I think we ended up in second place, which was super lame. And I
Oh, that
do
yeah.
go
Go
ahead.
ahead. So Pasadena, I think the reason that got so messed up is because they had a round one match get misreported, not caught in round two, and then they tried to fix it in round three, and it messed all the scores up. I think that's what happened.
Oh, and then like pairings got weird. I do
Yeah.
remember
So
pairings
one,
getting weird.
I had a team of locals who won round one, got the round by round two, the by round two. Somehow didn't think that was weird. Um,
They're new.
they're like, we're gonna take this free W. I guess only 2 of them were my local. One of them was somebody he knows from somewhere else. But and then round three, the people they were playing didn't have their records didn't match up. So they were like, hey, what's going on? I think that's what screwed up all the
Hmm.
pricing or the scoring.
Yeah. It was definitely a little weird, and then we ended up I don't even actually remember the pricing because I remember thinking it was too much of a hassle to split it between 3 people. you
Yeah.
know? Like I think it was so much of a hassle. I think Tam Cardwell just said, "Here, have this stuff," and like we like split the booster. We were able to split the boosters evenly, and then I think he just like handed out the whatever promos to the other 2 of us, and he like kept the one that he wanted. Got like double promos.
Do you do you remember if you were getting regional promos or provisional promos?
I think we were getting regional promos.
Okay, so that won't match up exactly, but I know teams at Gen Con, where they did provisional promos. The second you said you got second.
Yeah, I think so.
The
It's very
sec
foggy. It was
Yeah,
not. The point was that we got second place, and it was not memorable.
yeah. The second place team got 2 of every promo, so you had to divide two 2/3 of a play set amongst 3 people.
Yeah, okay. It was something like that for sure.
Yeah.
I just remember thinking like we could have worked it out so that everybody got like a complete playset or like someone like we got like better numbers,
Yeah.
but it was just not worth it. They weren't like if they were provisional promos, we would have been like playing threes for them or something, right?
Yeah.
They could have been $20 promos if they were provisional promos.
I think, but side events, like even the stuff you get for winning a side, like just participation prizes for side events were really bad last year.
Oh, like zero, like nothing.
Well, I mean, like that was like teams when yeah, like nothing, or like Bromley, Mitch and I played as in Dallas, and we had to chop for like 2 garbage promos and 2 good promos at the time between
Yeah.
3 people.
I
Um,
I just remembered in Orlando, I got eliminated top 16 by Jose, and they were still running side events. So I signed up for a side event provisional, which at the time, this is what, March last year? Maybe no, it was summer
if
last
it was
year.
Florida, it was July, early July.
Yeah, it was summer last year. It was like the worst year, worst month to go to Florida too. Um, and I managed to sign up for like the last provisional going, and it was best of ones. I'm playing Danky and won like all my dice rolls until I got to like the final round, and I think it was 4 rounds, and in round 3 I got smoked by a Tokoyami. I just remember thinking like this should have been the final round, right? Like I thought it was the final round, but there was apparently one more, and I got I think 4 provisional promos for getting third or fourth place.
Yeah, I mean, like, so the format in general have also been bad on side events. We won't know if that'll be improved.
Mm-hmm.
Like Dallas teams was best of one, and they didn't tell us till after we had chosen opponents and rolled dice to see who goes first.
Right.
Slash submitted decks. But who knows how that'll work, right? Because I don't know, is Carta Magica running their events this year? I don't think so, right?
No, I don't think Carta Magic has been announced as
Yeah, I don't
part
think
of
they
it.
are. And that too was running side events before, so maybe that will be better. But I think to get back to the prize wall,
Yeah.
for getting people to play inside events, encouraging people to play side events, and properly rewarding people for playing side events, I think the prize wall is probably a win. I think it. I would be hard pressed to imagine a scenario in which the prize wall turns into a loss for that purpose, like where they hold an L, like unless they just don't show up with enough promos.
Yeah, and that's the big thing that gets to me, right, is it's not like I have all the information in front of me, all the costs of things like shipping prizes out
Mm-hmm.
tournament, bringing stuff, whether it's because I'm pretty sure most of the stuff they like pay for shipping, and the employees just have their own check bags. Like in the past, it would have been like whichever Jasco representative is going to this PTC would just like bring the pricing in a checked bag because it was just booster packs.
Yeah, Ryan Pham just checks the prices.
Yeah, so like it's cool that things are definitely being upgraded. It's rough that for the first year, and that's the other thing too, right? Is a lot of stuff is supposed to be changing, but we have to fill in the gaps with our experiences from the first year. And the first year really rewarded you for going to a whole bunch of events, especially going to smaller events where it's theoretically easier to make a top cut, for regional points and stuff like that.
Yeah, because points weren't based on participants; it's just a flat number.
Yeah, so it some events didn't even cut the top 16, and it
Pasadena didn't.
very close to top 16. It was very frustrating. So like it was almost as stacked as, anyway, the point is that this year, with the changes to the way that people qualify for Nats, I guess now we have to qualify for Nats instead of Worlds.
Right.
And the fact that overall it seems fairly easy for someone who is invested to qualify. It's gonna be up to these promos to really drive these, I don't know, second, third, fourth event that you go to, because a lot of the rhetoric is, if I can make a top cuts at the first, Kissimmee event or the first online event, I don't have to worry for the rest of the year. I don't have to travel unless
Yeah.
I want to get these promos.
Yeah, like if they're so yeah, so unless they hold a high secondary value or high value on the secondary market, like once I qualify, I'll probably stop traveling for the most part. Like it's
Right.
just
And
an
so
added
like as soon as
cost.
your provisional store championship happens, you could theoretically qualify for Nats and never once go to a region.
Yeah, I have probably I mean, I don't know. Out of the 4 stores in Sacramento, I'll probably only 2 of them will get provisional store championships. Maybe only one of them actually. I would guess 2. Reno will probably get 1 or 2, and the Bay will probably get 1. So that's like 5 stores, and maybe one of them will get 2 events. So that's like 6 events. 6 shots without traveling. Really?
Huh, I didn't even think about Reno. I guess theoretically, I'm hoping both of the stores that are doing locals here in Vegas get the maximum per season. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
I think everyone hopes to get the maximum per season.
Yeah,
And go
I think
ahead.
most stores will get 2.
Yeah,
That would be my guess. Some stores will get 1, and some stores will get 3. But I would guess that most stores will get 2.
yeah. And so I'm looking at it as like the possibility that some people come up from Arizona, maybe a few people from California. Like in the past, probably some Omaha people, just because how big the play group was and like the fact that it's Vegas and the Jasco thing. But I don't know if I don't think that'll be the case this time. But if theoretically, if Las Vegas got the maximum amount just because we're Vegas, and Reno gets 2, that's like 8 I can go to without leaving the state. And then if Arizona, because their locals is so big, that would be one of the few that I would expect to be, getting 3 as well. That's like 10-ish, provisional store championships I can drive to
Yeah.
and potentially qualify for, right? So
Yeah.
there's and I don't have they released they updated the provisional store championship. Have they released those promos at all?
We saw what the promos are yet last night on the stream.
On the stream? Okay, yeah. I heard a rumor. I was playing games with Clinton Thomas and he was talking about the cards that they were previewing, so
Yeah, we saw the muscular attack that's actually a shoji attack.
that's actually a shoji attack. Yeah, he was going off about that one being crazy, and I was like, I mean, you pretty much
It's
have to
shoji.
pump up to like get
Yeah,
there
it's
quickly.
crazy in shoji.
Yeah, it's pretty nuts in shoji. Um, but yeah, so it's the kind of thing where, depending on how good those provisional store championship promos are and how much they retain value, because like what I'm afraid of is these cards, these regional cards, end up not being distributed as much as before, and they don't even skyrocket in price either because they're reprints. And so there's just like very few of them, and they hang out at like a really annoying price for the few people who really want them.
Um, yeah, like the Shigaraki one is almost guaranteed to be expensive, right? You can't buy it on the prize wall for sure. You have to win it.
Right.
Um, the Togo one you have to top 32,
Top 64.
top 64 to get.
Yeah, luckily no one's gonna
Uh,
play that card, and the very few the Toga Sims will acquire enough of those.
yeah. And then man, what are the other ones?
Cremation and effortless movement.
Cremation is one you have to top 32 for,
Is it?
or is it participation? It might be
Top
participation.
32 is Tormenting Glare. That's the
Okay.
Shigaraki one.
Okay.
And then
And
top
then top
64.
64 is Toga, and then cremation and the twice one are just participation.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, so I mean, you have 4. Yeah, I can't see them unless they are crazy expensive on the prize wall. I can't see them being very expensive on the secondary market.
Yeah, so
Um,
there won't be too many of them, so enough people they'll end up being the same price as last year's regionals, and people just won't you just won't see them everywhere.
Yeah.
Like,
Maybe. I mean, the Shigaraki one will probably be expensive, right? That's probably the only one that'll have value. Like a
I,
lot of value.
I hope so. As someone who doesn't care too much for alt arts, alternate rarities just don't, appeal to me, and like XRs don't appeal to me personally, and I'm not a big fan of like the chibi art. I'm hoping to flip these cards. So
Yeah. So I sold almost everything that I won last year or attempted to. Like, I think if you add up all of my card purchases, traveling, hotel stays, and tournament entries last year, and then deduct the amount of money I got selling stuff, I spent less than $500 on MHA. So that's actually a big negative for me on the new price structure. I think it's probably better for the game overall, but for me personally, it's a big con that I can't go to these events and then just flip them to pay for the event, basically.
yeah, it's a tough thing because a lot of people want these cards to retain value, but when it comes to like the mechanically unique side of promos, nobody wants that. When it comes
Right.
to a common that now has a chibi art, yes, I want this card to be $100 because
Mm-hmm.
if you really need it to play in a tournament, you can suck it up and play the 5 cent common, right?
Sure.
Um, but it was really those mechanically unique provisional promos, and now we're seeing the quirk pack cards shoot up in value or shoot up in price. Really,
Yeah, chivalrous competitor.
yeah. Like I was about to go through my box and look to see how many chivalrous competitors I have because I got at least one.
I have 3. It's a depressing number.
Hey, you want to buy one? Finish that playset, bud.
Not really. Not
Nah,
really.
it's only $45. Come on.
Um, I'm fine with like provisional promos being expensive, even though they're mechanically unique, as long as redemption is online right away, right? So
Ooh, we're getting into the meat of it.
if people want to pay a bunch for foils, uh, I think that's ideal for me because then I can flip them. But at the
Right.
same time, if redemption is actually working, then people can just redeem them. Um, but redemption is a whole nother can of worms for this season.
I
Uh,
I feel so weird about redemption because I want to talk up redemption at every chance I get. I think it's such a neat idea that a company will reward you with points for buying product and playing the game now. That's not something we used to get. We used to not get points for playing the game.
yeah.
Um, and now, actually, it's so funny. All right, I'm going to use this to plug my code for a second because they actually just told me I got a letter yesterday, but I didn't read it until today that the referral code program is back. So for the next until the end of March, if you have new players who are signing up to play at your locals, to play at the pre-release for the first time, they can use the code ACE once again to get 50 free loyalty points. And I believe they'll get 100 loyalty points if they play in two. I'll have to reread the letter. I don't want to scam people. But I think you'll get bonus loyalty points for the first two LGS level events that you play in.
Oh, cool.
So that should be enough to redeem a couple promos right off the bat. And I think that that's so cool in theory.
Yeah.
And then we actually go through the practice of it, and it just seems like we can never get it right between making cards way too accessible versus making cards like something that you have to. I guess the goal for Jasco is show up to locals and play.
Yeah. Yeah, because right, if you play in what 2 locals, you can buy basically anything on redemption. Does anything cost 100? You might not be able to buy something that costs 100, but um,
I think the
and I
brand newest cards are like 160, and then they drop to 80 after like a month or
oh,
so.
okay, okay. So you have to play in
Yeah,
4 locals to buy the newest thing.
yeah. I played
Um,
for I think 2 months, and then I had 5 people use my referral code, which takes me back some loyalty points, and I was able to buy 4 playsets of cards and then 3 extra pieces. And I just gave. I looked for my locals who helped me out with like borrowing cards, and I gave them 4 seizing the advantage, 2 petty squabble, and like a playset of some other promo that they wanted, and then I got my playset of seizing the advantage.
um,
It didn't take
yeah.
too
So,
long.
and I personally haven't ever been burned by the turnaround time. I know other people have been burned by that, but it's never happened to me. Um, Longest I've had to wait was 2 weeks. But I
That
think
West
the
Coast
real
advantage.
the real problem I think with redemption right now is one, Crow and Frog still being redeemable for 45 loyalty, and two, just like the 2-month like moratorium on redeeming cards.
Yeah, I mean, so we'll get into that in a second, but really quick, I mean, if someone wants to get a non-foil Crow and Frog just because they like Asui or they like Tokoyami, you know, they should still be able to get the card.
Yeah, it should cost 10 loyalty. um,
No, I
I
mean
think
it's the cost to make the cardboard, man.
sure.
Well, and that's
It looks like newest plus ultras are 60. Newest provisionals are they might have dropped these price already because they've been out for so long. But they're provisional 3 is at 80 right now.
yeah. So with the
So 2
referral
events.
code, after playing at 2 LGS events, you'll probably be able to get like a playset of a plus ultra.
Yeah. Or if the referral code's 50, playing an event is 40. I mean, right away you can buy one of the more recent provisional promo or 2 of the older ones.
Yeah, you can get a playset of Chivalrous Competitor within a month. They just won't be foil.
So
I think. Oh, go ahead.
I think promos overall are better. I have a lot of concerns about them individually just from how I handle promos because I don't really want them. I just want the money that I can turn them into. But for the game, I think promos are better for the player base.
Yeah, I think the only real issue for me overall, just because of the type of player I am, where I'm at, right? Like, I'm not a collector. I actually get really bad anxiety when my collection gets bigger than like a single long box of rares and stuff. Um, and so like I hate sorting and organizing stuff and then not using it. Really, the issue. Like I hate having cards and not using it. So for someone like me who can borrow the cards I need to if I don't happen to own them, or eventually, you know, I get around to getting like a playset of the lowest rarity non-foil redeemable versions of stuff. The biggest issue for me is always how easy is it to access these cards. Not necessarily how expensive they are, not necessarily like how many locals you have to play at or how much effort you have to put in like playing, but if I want to just go and see where do I get Chivalrous Competitor, like how hard is it to find out what a quirk pack is?
Sure. Yeah, if you were just buying in, right, and you like someone taught you how to play and you did deck building before you bought anything, trying to figure out where you got those other than just from a third party source would be kind of funky.
Yeah, like if you know, just for example, if you go do a TAM deck doctor and he's like, okay, you know, obviously you're a new player, we're building with what you have, but these are the first upgrades I would give you. And he lists a plus ultra pack card, a quirk pack card. I mean, this is just an earth symbol deck, right? Like if he's like, get seizing the advantage, get chivalrous competitor, and your set one character get a copy of plus ultra, you know, like the info, like it sounds so simple to us who are familiar with it, like, oh well, you get this one from buying a box, you get this one from playing in your locals, but it's too old, so you're gonna have to go to the redemption site to get plus ultra, and then you can play in your locals and hopefully you'll get a seizing the advantage, but eventually you'll be able to redeem, right? That player's like, cool, this is a bunch of new information, I'll focus on getting like one of these cards, you know, and then what are they going to do? Are they actually going to buy a box to try and get this one card, Are they actually going to go out of their way to buy singles to get this card? No, they're just going to keep playing the game and collecting, and their deck is just going to suffer because they didn't happen to open a seizing the advantage, and they haven't gotten enough loyalty to redeem yet. Or, they go to do the redeem for like a single copy of Plus Ultra and they wait 2 months for it.
Yeah, my online nationals deck only had one Petty Squabble in it because I could not source more than one Petty Squabble because I didn't open any.
I think I intentionally ran one Petty Squabble.
Yeah, I was going to run, I can't remember if I was going to run 2 or 3, but I only ran one because I didn't own any and there was only one available to borrow in my locals.
Oh, I definitely borrowed a playset. I just don't remember if I had one or two by the end of it.
Yeah.
And that was like, that might have been one of the few cards that my locals didn't have a playset between us. Like, and I could only borrow like one or two from them. Like, it came from like a bunch of different places. I played against more than one person at that event who said, "Oh, I would love to be playing those cards. My redemption hasn't come in yet." After it was like promised to everyone.
Yeah.
Like, so that's the thing, right? Is like, it sounds like such a cool system. It sounds player forward, and I want to use that as my main promotion for like new players get into this game, because you get rewarded for playing it. But then the thing I hear people complain about the most is, quote unquote free promos through redemption, because the system has unfortunately let them down. Because I'll tell you right now, I've never pulled a fucking playset of a single Plus Ultra card in the entire time I've been playing MHA.
I definitely pulled a playset of characters in the first Plus Ultra.
The closest I've pulled 3 Nezus. That's the closest I've gotten, is 3 of the same character who doesn't stack.
Yeah.
I've pulled, I think maybe is Ectoplasm, he's Plus Ultra, right? I think I pulled 2 of him.
Yes.
So like, for someone who's heavily invested, who plays in possibly 2 locals a week, because you can play in your locals at your LGS, and you can play in Unfun Fridays or any other of the webcam weekly LGS level events, you can rack up these points pretty quick. But then when it comes to, spending, because so like you don't worry about it because you're getting points regularly and you're getting Plus Ultra packs regularly, and you'll get that card eventually. But then time comes for nationals to shake down, and people are trying to figure out what the meta is, and it's happening very quickly, or maybe the one regional that's in your part of the woods, that's in your region, the one that you can actually go to is coming up soon, and you're like, okay, these are the cards I want. It's going to be like 45 days before you can get them under the normal current system.
Yeah.
God forbid, under this new system, it's 60 days until you can order them. And then what? Are we going to keep the whole... This is something that I don't think has been addressed, and I don't know if anyone's asked, but I talked to Richard Cruz about this, where it was like, if you know how the current system works, right?
For
like
sending it out?
Yeah, like you order it, and then they wait till the end of that month.
Yeah.
You send it out. Or the end of the next month, I'm sorry. So like if you order it on like the 1st of August, you have to wait until the end of September, is my understanding. It's the end of the next month.
I know that sometimes at least they have sent stuff out right away, like but yeah, I know that there's a big waiting period.
Yeah, if they get to it, that's really cool. They get all caught up. That's awesome. No one's gonna complain. But as far as the official, my understanding, the official way that it works is it's the end of the month after you order the cards. So if I'm wrong on that, please someone correct me. If this is something that's changed or they've announced that's changed, please let me know. Because what I'm afraid of is you're going to wait 60 days after these cards come out, after they're legal. You're not going to get to go to your regional. You're going to be playing in like an online event or wherever, right? Like, God forbid, like we can't even talk about how overseas players are going to feel about all.
I mean, even in America, right? Like, so I'm not flying to Florida.
Right.
Or even Kansas City might also be before the online regional. I don't remember when it's happening. So I'm going to play in the online regional against people that have been able to redeem in person on cards that were on a moratorium. Like,
Right.
in the
Yeah,
regionals,
exactly.
like 8 days after the moratorium ends, or like 6 days after the moratorium ends.
Right. So if you have to wait that 60 days and then you order them as soon as it's available to order, and then you have to wait till the end of, even if it's the end of that month, like, what's the likelihood it's before those 8 days and it's going to show up?
Yeah. I mean, with the moratorium, they could send them out the next day and I might not get them, like, because of how close it is to when events are.
Exactly. So that's what I'm afraid of. Is it's one of those policies where, yes, it's doable, right? Like, yes, this could go really smooth for everybody and be fine, but it feels like they're creating more work for themselves in the future.
Yeah. I mean, it's one of the reasons I would prefer to just win a store championship and be done and not have to worry about regionals, is I don't feel like playing in a meta where I don't have access to all the cards other people have.
Right,
Unless I go and buy them on TCG.
Which is the complete opposite of their stated goal with these changes. You know, the overall message, right, was that we really want people to come out and actually play in these events rather than get these promos in another way, you know? And one of those ways was just redeeming for the non-foil versions, which, by the way, we can talk. This could be a whole podcast of itself if you really want to deep dive it, but like the ethics of foils versus non-foils, I know plenty of people who would rather have non-foil versions of all of their cards. And so if you're someone who would just rather like trade somebody your foil version for a non-foil version, which I've seen, it's probably unlikely with the way that the cards are costed now, but you know, that's something that people used to do a lot in Vegas. Actually, is a few people really like foils and a few people really don't, so they would just trade, you know, copies of cards. And now the people who want to get the non-foil version have to wait just because.
Yeah, it's I don't know. It's a choice.
Yeah. So I don't understand. So far, right? Like, just to sum things up, the changes from last year to this year went from I have to be a tournament grinder who attends a bunch of events and gets mechanically unique promos to flip on the market, you know, or not mechanically unique, sorry, reprints for regionals, I guess. Because the provisionals are
both,
really just for fun.
You were getting both. Regionals were reprints, provisional were mechanically unique.
Yeah, the regionals were actually the reprints. The provisionals were basically like just for fun events to give you mechanically unique promos. That's the main reason people played in them.
Yeah, that's what it ended up being, right? Because they weren't worth anything. I mean, you got like a buy at two round buy at a regional or something, 1 round buy at a regional. But...
Yeah, like what you won was the opportunity to get cards you can't get anywhere else. So, and now it's,
you get more of them for doing well.
Yeah, and now it's literally going to be that, but the only other way to get them is now 60 days later. So, yeah, so last year it was like I have to be a tournament grinder, and it was very participation based until Nats, which Nats was basically just the last chance qualifiers for Worlds. And, you know, aside from Nationals and people and like trying to grind through a bunch of regionals, the only reason to play were to get mechanically unique promos. And now we've got the mechanically unique promos at the event that is only local, that they're not doing, or most likely there's going to be like 1 or 2 online, not a ton. And you don't want your store to actually host it online, which is really sad. Because you want that.
You for sure want it to be in person, right?
Yeah, you want that invite. And if promos are based on top cutting, then you definitely want it to be like slated towards you making top cuts. So now instead of tournament grinding, you want to win one early so you can relax and not worry about anything. And then you don't need these mechanically unique promos which means the 60-day moratorium doesn't actually affect you anymore because you're no longer playing in events.
Yeah, if I win a provisional store championship in April, the only regional I'm going to is probably Gen Con.
Not even Pasadena?
No, probably not. I probably won't even play on the webcam one. I could do it at my house.
Damn. Okay. I mean, like
if they have one in Vegas, I might go to that one because it's in Vegas. But like,
right.
Pasadena is not actually that close to me. It's quite a drive. California is a big state.
That's true.
And there's not really a whole lot to do there.
Yeah. Well, so I gotta be honest. And this is so weird. I'm still like, just like last year, where I didn't feel like I was in the everyman shoes. I wasn't like in the common person shoes for like your average event. This year I want to do commentary at a ton of events because I had so much fun at the few events. I only got to do in-person commentary at Nats and Worlds. Everything else I did was online, and so I had so much more fun doing it in person. It's so much easier in person. There's actually so much less weird stress going on. My room gets super hot when like the computer's on all day and like I can't run the fan for audio quality, stuff like that. Like it was just so much nicer to be doing it in person. It was so nice to travel. Like this year I'm hoping to, I didn't even think about it as like a normal player, right? Like as your average everyday wants to play and qualified player. I was hoping to win a provisional store championship very early on, and then I could just focus on hounding Jasco to hire me to cast events because I don't have to play anymore.
Sure.
So I didn't even think about it. Like as a normal player, that would probably be the same attitude. Like I would just want to win one early, and then I can play at my leisure, basically, because I'm not hounding for these promos. I don't need to get these promos anymore because I'm not playing in competitive events anymore.
I mean, if the prize wall ends up being like super sick, like great value, then I might go to Pasadena because it's a long drive, but it's not like an expensive drive.
Right.
But yeah, if the prize wall is just good and not great, then I probably would skip it. Especially because I think the only regional promo that's really going to have value is the Shigaraki one.
Right. The tormenting glare, the top 32s.
Top 32. And a big part of me, like playing MHA, or one of my goals for playing last year, was being able to mostly pay for the game on flipping stuff, which I did. So if I'm going to like extraneous regionals where I'm not going to be able to flip the promos to cover them, I'm moving away from that. So if I can win a store championship early, I'll just skip most of the regionals.
Yeah, I will say, if it was an early regional, or if it was the first or second provisional, it had to basically be the first regional, and it had to be like regional seasons 1 and 2, because we had 3 last year.
Mm-hmm.
And if it was like the first or second provisional, you probably were able to flip stuff for a pretty penny if you made top 6. I made more money flipping promos than I did for commentating last year.
Yeah, I think I have it saved on my phone. I can tell you like exactly how much money I made flipping stuff. Give me 1 second.
I probably got the receipts on PayPal. I know the big one was I got in early with new training method and floating around my babies, and I managed to sell like 2 play sets each for like $200 each. It was like $195, and so I made more money from selling Nats promos than I got paid for casting World. So like that could be a reason to keep playing, but from what it sounds like, these promos might not retain that level of value, right? Like that's kind of what we're afraid of. If people aren't traveling to these events, though, maybe they stay really scarce and expensive. But
I sold $3,753 worth of promos.
Nice.
So like, I don't see that being doable with the stuff they've shown so far.
Well, how many events was that over? Because I think I played in 7.
That was a bunch of online events. I couldn't tell you how many.
Yeah.
Plus Vegas, Gen Con, Pasadena, Dallas.
Okay, so 3 regionals, a Nats, and then I imagine a lot of that was
2 Nats because I also played online.
true. Okay. Were you able to flip new training methods and loadings? Because I couldn't sell the other 2.
I flipped a set of each right away.
Okay. Yeah, so I imagine most of that was from provisional.
Yeah, or regional promos. I've made a lot of money selling like season 1 and season 2 regional promos.
I didn't get that much. I wasn't quick on the draw. I should have been at the venue trying to sell them, but I waited like till the end of the weekend, and the prices tank like after everyone finishes the event and starts listing them.
Yeah, especially season 2 and season 3. I think season 1 held up a little better, but
Yeah, people had caught on.
Yeah.
People had caught on to how far they could tank.
It helped that I had like in Sacramento we had like a whale basically who would buy all of my prize support.
Does help.
And he got out in September, so that would also hurt my ability to do repeat that.
Both the whales who buy most of my promos are also in California. It's a good state to be in.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah.
But yeah, so that was something that was always weird for me because I love to just flip my promos, but I also don't want people to play against me at nationals and say, "Well, I redeemed for seizing the advantage, but they didn't show up."
Yeah, and I don't know. That's people are going to buy foil cards anyway. I don't think redemption hurts card value that much. Obviously, it hurts the spike. Like you're going to be able to sell something before it's on redemption for like an insane price. But a lot of foil stuff, characters in particular, foil characters will maintain value. Not plus ultra ones, but provisional ones.
Yeah, I'm still sad I let go of the top 8 midnight for $100.
Yeah, rest in peace.
Yeah, rest in peace.
Your value.
I got sad. It back in karma though.
I'm sad that Champion Selkie is only worth $100.
Yeah. That one is. Yeah.
why are there no Echo Kick or Echo Slams on his symbols? It's
someday, man.
It's a personal attack.
Just a ranged kick that ignores face down. Or they both already do. Yeah, admission fees. They'll reprint admission fees someday.
That'd be sick. I was so upset that admission fees wasn't in standard anymore.
Oh.
For Nats.
Yeah.
I don't want to play it. I just want other people to be playing it.
Well, it rotated out. I had finally started to enjoy playing Akuma 2, which boo, I know, fuck Akuma 2.
No, I love Akuma 2. Everyone should have played him. Everyone should still play him.
No, fuck that character.
I win that matchup for free, bro. Everyone should play Akuma 2.
I was about to say, I'm like, I don't remember you playing Akuma 2, but you played Taki, so it's like, yeah, you eat him a lot. But I had finally started to enjoy it because I was playing Scarlet Meteor in an evil deck. It was all evil, and all the attacks are Akuma attacks, so they chain. Just flip Scarlet Meteor if you have to, right, with Akuma response. And I was using Scarlet Meteor to tutor up Hanging Gardens, admission fees, or the power to connect realms, I think. Whatever the one diff is, the super overtuned one diff. And it made the deck just incredibly consistent. And then the day of a tournament, I added like 4 cards at the last minute, and it totally fucked the consistency up. So sad. And then Standard never happened again, and admission fees rotated, and Scarlet Meteor got banned.
Justice.
Yeah, fuck Scarlet Meteor, fuck Akuma 2. Hanging Gardens is cool. I'm a big fan of Hanging Gardens. They could probably reprint that before admission, but I'm not holding my breath. But yeah, when it comes just to get back on topic, when it comes to the way promos shook down last year, it
Mhm.
was definitely a 100% mixed bag for me because uh, I don't want to I don't want to go to events and get worthless prizes. But at the same time, I don't want to feel like I have to play in events if as the only way to get these cards because I can't redeem for them or I have to buy them anyway. Like they're cards you're not supposed to be able to
Yeah.
buy, and now I'm looking at it like I have to buy them if I want to play.
Yeah, I I think I prefer, yeah, redemption just has to work. No matter what your promo system is, whether you have last year's promo system or this year's, if redemption isn't working, the system isn't going to work.
Yeah. And I have absolutely no idea why they think that putting the 60-day moratorium is gonna stop resellers. I just don't. No one has been able to explain it to me. No one has ever given me an answer on what the system is in place that will not make these foil cards available on, because like if you just decide, okay, for the first week we're gonna have a locals every day and people just show up and they pay their $5 to get multiple kits opened, and people have leftover plus ultra pack cards, like they're allowed to sell them, so like they're
Yeah.
gonna be on the market.
Um, yeah, I don't know. Like, it doesn't really make a lot of sense from that standpoint, right? I mean, a lot of people have talked about this already, but um, if I can't redeem them and I need them for an event, I'm going to buy them on the secondary market. So you're increasing the demand for resellers. Um, Similarly, they claim that it's to push people to locals. Most people that play at locals are just playing, like the plus ultra cards are a bonus.
Yeah.
But you get loyalty points for redemption on locals. I can't spend them for 60 days. So I'm just going to, if I need them, I'll just go buy them on TCG Player. And then if I am driven exclusively by the promos, now I don't need to play in locals because I don't need the loyalty points anymore because I already have the cards.
Yep. It is very wild. After the first month, it's so weird because it's like after the first couple weeks, by the end of the first month for each season, everybody has basically gotten tired of trying. You get like 2+ ultra packs a week for. I think the average player gets 2 a week. I could be wrong. The average could actually get less than one. Math is weird, but so like a lot of people I know who are really invested, they get 2 a week. Either you play in a $10 local and they give you 2 packs instead of one, or you have 2 locals to go to. Some people are nice enough and they get 3 because they play in like online, that whatever. But by the end of the first month, you have pooled all the promos you are actually going to pool, and they seek out other means to get the rest of those cards so they can just start deck building and playing what they want. And for a lot of gamers, they want to have a playset of everything pretty much that, aside from maybe like ultra rares, whatever, but they want to have pretty much close to a master playset just so they can build any deck that they want. And so now players aren't even going to be waiting that extra month because they know they're going to have to go to the secondary market. They know at the end of that first month, they're going to have to wait a whole nother month to spend all these points that they've accumulated. And they're just going to say, well, I want this play set now because I'm tired of, getting rolled by the one guy who has 2 copies of
Yeah,
Seizing the Advantage in his Kirishima deck, just
yeah,
because no one else has them, or
for sure.
no one has chivalrous competitors or whatever it is. Um, and it's, yeah, like you said, everything seems to point to accelerating the need or the desire for secondary market sellers. And I mean, yeah, if they can stop like the ne'er-do-wells, sure. But if every single person just turns around and starts putting their Plus Ultra Pack cards online because eventually they'll redeem for the ones they want, and other people are just gonna buy Plus Ultra Pack cards to get like a full playset, eventually someone's gonna get through. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
eventually someone's gonna be like, "Hey, I have just a playset of all the Plus Ultra kit cards. Don't ask where." And they're gonna
Yeah.
sell them.
My plan is to figure out which ones I'm probably could potentially need for a regional, and sell the rest of them, and then redeem later, or just win them later.
Right. Like
When the value goes down, like, and then I'll buy the ones I need right away. Like,
right. Like and so they don't have an issue with the single people reselling them, but I think that there is an issue if every single person just turns around and tries to sell them instead of keeping them because they're not going to be playing in an event soon, right? And then
yeah,
eventually the race to the bottom on TCG player will happen. These cards will look really worthless, and then people aren't going to want to go to events anymore. you
yeah.
know?
So depending on what, I don't know what the store championship schedule is going to shake down to. So I don't know what my tournament schedule looks like technically
Right.
for the next few months. But for regionals, I don't have an event until May. So I can just sell every Plus Ultra promo I get, and then buy them in the middle of April.
Yeah,
The ones that
that's
I decided I need.
that's through the like I
Whereas
just
previously, I just keep all my Plus Ultra promos basically, or
right.
trade them away to people who need them. But
Like the whole linchpin is on whether or not they can stop kit resellers. And if you can stop kit resellers, you don't have to change anything.
yeah,
Because
and they're not going to be able to stop kit resellers, I don't think.
I don't think so either. I don't want to like pass the
I think
judgment now because
I
God
think they
forbid I'm
may
right.
be able to choke them on kits. Like the people that are reselling are probably, if they try to get a ton of kits, it's probably going to, the way they do that is probably going to look suspicious and they'll get caught. So the
Mhm.
people that are smarter about it will be running like, in quotation marks, fewer events, um so that, and getting one or two kits. So they're still going to be able to flip them. There probably won't be as many getting flipped, right? If you're
Right.
out there running enough fake events to get 4 kits, you're probably going to get caught. Like, it's going to be hard for you.
Yeah. Well, so that's I'm hoping that I'm wrong, right? I'm hoping that they handle everything really well, but I can't say that I'm assuming that that's the case. I can't say that that's how I expect it to go down. What I'm really curious, and I don't know if he'll do it just because it's probably not the type of engagement he really wants, but I know he'll joke about doing it, but I'm really hoping that like Andrew Holder, like day 2, just posts a video of him showing off an entire playset of every Plus Ultra kit. Because
Yeah.
he is someone who could easily collect all of the Plus Ultra kit cards through playing in events or playing in weeklies over time. He's
Yeah,
someone
for sure.
he's someone who gives away all of his stuff because it is easier for him, even with the old system, and because he wants shinies to just buy them. And
Yeah.
I don't think it's going to be so hard that someone like that who wants to do so can't just do so. They might have to be a little more secretive about it. That's not going to stop. And the increase of demand of it is going to encourage people who wouldn't have done it before to do it. And I'm afraid that it like monkeys paws into a case where, like I said, with everyone just trying to sell all their promos, where it's creating this narrative where everyone's going to be like fiending for these cards, but in reality no one really is. No one really ends up wanting them, and so the
Sure.
whole thing just ends up backfiring because every single Plus Ultra pack I open is already going to have a $2 card in it that nobody needs.
Yeah.
you
Yeah,
know
there's a good chance it ends up there. Um,
like
I think it'll
especially.
probably rubber band. I think it will go to that and then maybe bounce back.
Hmm.
Um, but I think there's a solid chance we at least temporarily end up there.
Let me see, where is... I'm going to check TCG Player for where Seizing the Advantage is, because that's got to be, like, the most iconic...
I sold one for a pretty good amount of money recently.
Yeah.
Like non-foils.
Okay, yeah. So Seizing has finally dropped to under $10. It's at $8.98 for the foil. The victory, I think it's hilarious that the victory pack cards are cheap.
Yeah, I think that's because a lot of these like accounts are just managed by bots.
Yeah, that's possibly it. Because the market price is higher by a couple bucks. Lower, so yeah, there's like bots that just drop the price by a nickel like every week or something. It also just has like a higher quantity, but yeah, so it's finally under $10. It's still like that's like a good price for it to be at, but that's not the price it was before National.
Yeah, I think I sold a playset of non-foil Seizings a month ago for $20.
Yeah, yeah, that's very good for cards you got for redemption points.
Yeah,
you know, if I could redeem my redemption points for $5 a card, like sign me up, absolutely.
yeah, I redeemed them because I might play them in online nats. Didn't. Sold them.
So, you know, when it comes down to it, like it's gonna be really interesting because if people just don't need these cards like they needed Seizing, then that solves the issue by itself, I guess. But I mean, I remember sports festival stadiums were like $60 each at an event.
Yeah, that was crazy.
What?
I said, yeah, that was crazy. That's actually the only card I have redeemed online, and I got it in 2 weeks.
Nice.
West Coast privilege.
Yeah, that's definitely the West Coast privilege at work. So like, yeah, eventually these cards get out there and they do drop, and they seem to drop at about the same time that the moratorium would end. But now you would imagine that that's like when they'll rubber band.
Yeah, I would expect them to drop in, like, well, so I guess it depends on how many people are selling them. If everyone decides to sell now, buy later, then I would expect them to drop in 2 to 3 weeks.
Right.
But if some people decide to buy now, so I'm not going to an event in till May, so I can be selling cards all the way up till May. Some people are playing an event in April, or if they're playing in the Australia regional, that's what, end of March?
Yes.
Like the very end of March, maybe first day of April.
It should be, yeah, it should be like, it's not April 1st, is it? That'd be messed.
I think it's March 30th, March 31st.
Yeah, it's like right on the cusp, and then 2 weeks later is Kissimmee.
No, it is March 31st. So for them, it is April 1st. For us, it's March 31st.
Gasco gonna pull the rug out from under him. It's a damn shame.
Yeah, so like people are buying promos for that, so that could cause them to hold some value for a little bit because people will need them for those events. So it'll be interesting to see what that does to the market. I would not be shocked if all the people buying were people going to Florida.
Right. Like, so I imagine after the first 2 weeks of locals, a lot of people will be putting them up for sale because there'll be hype around people who want to go to events and like decks being built, and you know, just all like the game should pick up after the set release, of course, right? And people will, I think, I know I will turn to try and sell my cards first because I know that you're not getting these any other way right now, unless, you know, like legally, right? And so then once the non-foil versions start to hit the market, I think the price will tank immediately for like 1 week, and then they go back up, and that's mostly based on Magic the Gathering style pricing, because when they make a non-foil reprint of something, it actually increases the demand for the older foil version of something because people want to stand out.
Yeah, they might see very brief price dip and then they spike. Yeah.
Yeah, so a big part of that too is like the legality of it, because a lot of times it'll be like we're reprinting a non-foil version of a card, and that's making it legal again. And so
Yeah.
you can either get the new non-foil version or you can get the old foil version to be legal, right? So a lot of that comes from a card that like was not expensive because it wasn't legal to be played in a format, and now it's like legal in a standard format. So
Yeah. You also get max rarity chasers, right? People that this card's legal now, so now I'm going to buy the most expensive version.
exactly. So it's stuff like that. But, you know, we're talking only about promos that you get from playing in events. They've also spoiled a couple new products and new formats with which to get promos. And that's kind of its own can of worms, right?
Yeah, with the like, I can't remember what they're called, the bundles or whatever their version of fat packs are called.
I think the ones I know of are class reunion pack.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah. So they've got this new product where it's a bunch of booster packs and then like one guaranteed promo, and then like some random. And I think it's like
six
four.
random promos out of 10 in
Yeah,
one, and
six
four
random
out of something in
promos.
the other.
Yeah, like, and then I'm not familiar with products like that. I'm hoping that you don't get any duplicates.
I mean, you're gonna have to buy if you're buying it for promos. You have to buy so many that duplicates. I mean, I guess they would suck if you got the same duplicate over and over and over again.
Yeah, like I'm imagining you buy like if you're full whaling, full simping, and you buy like 8 boxes of this product to try and get like a playset of everything. I'm just thinking like how bad would it be if there's so many boxes you just got 2 of the same one,
Yeah. I
and you
mean, if
end
you're
up
the
with
luckiest
like
person on the planet, you have to buy at least 4.
right, yeah, well even more than that because that would only be a
Or
playset of 6 of them.
8. Yeah, you have to buy at least 8. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, like you'd have to be the luckiest person in the world to get a playset of everything to buy 8. But it gets even worse if those
If you can
boxes have
double up, yeah.
duplicates in them. Most likely, at least.
I think the average actually probably goes down 1 box, um, because you're gonna get duplicates no matter what across 8 boxes because you get 6 promos.
Right.
But yeah, the chances, your chances of getting burned and ending up with 12 copies of one card also go way up.
Right. That's what I'm afraid. I'm afraid you
Yeah.
end up with like 12 of something and 2 of another.
Yeah.
And
2 of the good card and 12 of the bad card.
yeah. And so I'm not super excited for a product like that. It's
I have
my
a bunch of problems with the product.
yeah, it's my least favorite style of product. I haven't done like a whole on. They haven't debuted a ton of info about it, so I'm reserving my.
Yeah, a lot of it is kind of like from retailer leaks or whatever. But the way it's
Yeah.
looking is not great, right? So it comes with packs from League of Villains. So you are less inclined to buy League of Villains product because you're going to have to rebuy it if you're going to buy those. Right?
Yep. And you get
So
less
it's
quirk packs now right, from the villains boxes.
yeah, I'm not sure
I
off the
think
top
you
of my
get
head.
1 instead of 2 now.
That's wild. Um,
I can
wild
find out
choice.
tomorrow on stream actually.
Okay. So if you're a buy 2 cases guy, these boxes probably make you a buy 1 case guy. If
Right.
you're a buy 1 case person, maybe you're a buy half a case now because you know if you're planning to buy these. And then all of the promos in them are mechanically unique, and the only way to get them is buying these bundles, which is also neat.
Yeah. So like, if if you're someone who only buys like 1 case, you're probably not like SR chasing anyways. You know, you're probably okay to give up your chances at SRs if you'd rather have these mechanically unique promos, but like SRs end up really cheap anyways, and Hold
They don't hold
Hostage is
any value.
probably gonna be uh fairly expensive for a while, but United States of Smash won't be hard to get at all.
Yeah, United States of Smash would be like I wouldn't be shocked if that card was $15 after a week.
Yeah, I mean, just for reference, Heroic Strike was like $5 on release.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah, so you're right. It'll probably be around $10, and the XSR will probably be under $40.
yeah. If Heroic Strike was
Especially
like,
without kanji.
yeah, especially without the if Heroic Strike and Aggressive Clash were like 5 and 25 for the XR and XSR respectively, I imagine because it has All Might on it, it'll be like 10 and 40.
Yeah, I think it's even worse as a card though, personally. So
Oh, absolutely.
yeah,
Especially since I don't actually know how it works yet.
well, it doesn't work until they release the FAQ that they've
Yeah, like
implied they're going to release.
there's a chance for it to get worse.
I mean, it works for me. I guess I'll just check a 6, but for
Oh,
everybody else, it's not gonna work.
oh, that reminds me. I actually have the program now to do, what is it called, a soundboard. I could have had the 6 check master sound clip set up. Could have done
What
that.
event was that? Was that when I played
I think that's when you got
what's her
second.
name from Florida?
Uh,
She was playing Ochako 1 and I was playing was I playing Ochako 2?
this was definitely
No, I was
not
playing
from an
Toga. I was
MHA
playing
event.
Toga in September. What was that?
It was definitely not from an MHA event.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's from like one of the first videos
You
I ever
repeated
did on
it
my
then.
channel.
You repeated it in the September online professional.
Yes, I did
Yeah,
repeat
yeah,
it.
yeah.
It is one of
Yeah.
my favorite.
That
It's
was so I wasn't going to play 6s in that deck. And then I decided to put some in. Um and I was going first and I was like, I mean, well, you can't attack me because it's turn 1 and I play 6s in the deck, so I guess I'll try and build this.
yeah.
Was actually what I said. And then we checked the 6 and we built 5 and it was sweet.
Yeah, that was definitely a cool callback, but the original sound clip is from Tam doing commentary either during retro or it was either during retro, but I think it was during the standard event where you played
The online
Taki.
Nats?
Huh?
I mean, online provisional. The online provisional.
Uh,
PTC. God damn it. The online
yeah,
PTC.
the online PTC. I just call it the online standard event.
Yeah, yeah. Because there was only one.
Yeah, because there was only one, and I don't think he won a plane ticket.
He won a plane ticket. I don't know if he got a plane ticket.
Did he? Okay, I didn't know what it
He
was.
did
Yeah.
technically win one. I don't know if they gave it to him, but he
Okay.
definitely did win one.
Gotcha. Yeah, I
Yeah,
think
where I got
actually the sound clip I use, now that I'm like jogging my memory, I think the sound clip I use is actually from Tam's video where he did a breakdown of all the players in the Retro Invitational.
Oh, which would have been. I mean, that would have been like right after that event, right? When he did that
Right.
breakdown, it would have between that event and the Retro Invitational. Man, did I mess up at that event. I bamboozled myself out of playing Zhenghua. I had the sickest Zhenghua deck for that event and I didn't play it.
Jianghua is the eraser head of of standard, I think. It won like a UK event, and I don't think it performed anywhere else.
It
I,
got second in a Reno PTC.
did it? Okay.
It topped some stuff.
Like, it was certainly a good deck. It was very annoying, very frustrating to deal with. Nice Dragon is a fucked up card, especially in
Yeah.
her. But I I just don't like. I think it's a deck where if you actually like put the reps in and practice and like for example, I think it's almost impossible for even a good player, like but maybe just not quite as good player playing Zheng Hua to beat a better player. Like
Um, I think there's some matchups that it's really hard to win into Zhenghua, but yeah, I think that's probably true.
yeah, like I think Zheng Hua is like the kind of character where if you're gonna play against people who you know are less experienced than you by, at least some margin, not just like barely, you could guarantee a win a lot of the time and you like never win an underdog match.
Yeah, for sure.
So
Unless they just chose like a hard countered character, but yeah, I think that's probably true.
yeah. Like so that was always a big thing for me is like I always need some kind of like explosive, out of nowhere potential. Because ever since Dimitri won, and like they've never printed that level of control ever again.
All right, but what if we play Sublimating Blade like 4 times with our Zhonghua deck in one turn?
I'm pretty sure other decks can play Subblade 4 times.
On your,
you know who plays Subblade better than Zhonghua? No one ever played this character. Talon 1.
Yeah. So I also have a Talon Sublimating Blade deck.
About the time that MHA was coming out, I don't remember how or why, but I got super fixated on Talon 1, and it almost ruined my life because I knew the deck wasn't actually good. It wasn't ever going to be good like in a standard environment, and there's going to be nowhere to like test it and just get it out of my system. And I don't think I ever really even played it against anybody. But I had like 5 or 6 iterations on the same like air Talon deck.
Yeah, I built a lot of air Subblade decks.
Yeah, I'm just a big fan of Reki Meki. I wanted my Reki Meki count to go like to 1 million, and Talon actually just ratchets up Reki Meki really fast.
Did you know that Fog Blanket is a 3 damage stun 2 attack that Air Zhonghua can play? It's fucking sick.
Okay, that's fair. Wait, was your build air?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't think I've ever actually seen an air Zhonghua deck.
Yeah,
Okay, now I'm
in retro it's sick. Outside retro it's not, but in retro it's
okay,
sick.
well, in retro anything with the air symbol is sick as fuck until they banned Soup Tech.
It was after that because they banned that card.
They what?
Did you say Superior Technique?
Yeah, Soup Tech.
Yeah, they banned that, right?
Yeah. They banned it like halfway through.
That.
It was like after Retro 4.
Yeah, I built this deck right before the Invitational.
Oh, okay. Well,
I'll see if I can find it and I'll send it to you later.
For what it's worth, how good was its Terry 1 matchup?
I don't know. I never played against that. I can tell you that it won its Johnny Cage matchup because I asked somebody if they would help me playtest, and that's what they brought to my playtest game was Johnny Cage 1.
That motherfucker. We all know who it is. Oh, man. What a miserable character. Builds committed. Rest in peace.
I played Johnny Cage in Standard for a little bit.
I
played this like Earth self-destruct Johnny Cage deck. I was trying to make nobody have fun.
That does sound funny, but you couldn't catch me dead, dude. Like,
it couldn't win in 60 minutes, that's why I stopped playing it.
He's so close to something I would play, but it's just not there.
I'd play him if rounds were 90 minutes.
Ooh, true. I'd play him if I could mill people. I'd make it a mill deck where I'm just like, I don't even need to take damage, bro. I don't have to build shit.
That's fair.
Like, I don't... Like, instead of reducing it to 1 damage, that's... So, I was playing Muscular on stream against Tam, and I realized after that game, like, my beef with Muscular is, like, you never stop taking damage.
Which Muscular deck?
I played Earth Muscular.
Which of Pippa's Muscular decks?
What?
I said, which of Pippa's Muscular decks?
No, it was not a Pippa deck this time. It was Earth Muscular. I don't even think Pippa has a Muscular deck built.
I don't know if she does or not. I just know that when you've played Pippa on stream and I was watching, it said you were stealing Pippa decks.
Yes, that is true. That has been my my stream title for, I think, 13 days. I think tomorrow is day 14.
2 weeks.
Yeah, and they haven't noticed yet, so don't tell them.
Okay, I won't.
I played 56 of the 70 decks. Pippa finally started making new decks.
You got to get to 70 before Pippa notices.
Yeah, well, I played them all at one point. There's actually 2 of the days where I didn't play any of Pippa's decks just because I had played them all. And then I was convinced Pippa found out and was making like...
Yeah, I heard you're like,
decks.
yeah, you can tell this is a troll deck. It has 68 cards. It's 1 less than the
Exactly. So I thought Pippa was fucking with me for a second, but I don't think they know actually.
Yeah.
Um,
Uh,
ooh, there's an Ida Void now. I'm actually looking at their to see if they have a muscular deck. Um, okay, yeah, we got I think it's the Infinite. I've been playing the Infinite version quite a bit. Okay,
how
yeah,
many
this is four.
attacks are you
Wow,
playing?
this is dude. Pippa is addicted to orange cards. Pippa plays so many attacks in every deck.
How many orange cards are you playing in your?
So in my life muscular, I had 12.
I think that's where I'm at. I might be at 14. I'm
Yeah.
definitely less than 16.
In Earth muscular, I think I had 18 out of 60. No, Earth muscular was only like 54, I think.
Yeah, but that has to be like a real deck. You don't get to play.
Right, it's not DVS, right?
Yeah.
It's Back Alley Haymaker and then like some cool friends of Back Alley Haymaker, but you don't kill anyone unless you have Back Alley Haymaker.
Yeah,
In the
that's a pretty messed up card.
yeah,
Turns
it's
out.
the only way
Turns
you win
out.
is by poking people and getting momentum for EX. In the game I played against Tam playing Earth Muscular, in game one, he barely failed a kill turn because I had like a +1 block and like, all this stuff went right.
Right.
And he paid 16 life between 2 brute strengths and relentless barrages. He paid 16 life. I didn't deal a single point of damage to him, and he gave me 7 muscle counters. He hit me 7 times.
Jesus.
And he was like tapped out and past the turn, and I was like, all right, here's Harden jab for 13. Like, and he's like, all right, cool, game 2. And then game 2, he hit me 4 times and did 36 damage on turn 2.
Nice, nice.
Yeah. And then game 3, he unflipped a chivalrous when he thought it was a student of the art and managed to fail a kill turn by like 2 life and gave me like 7, 8 counters. And also paid like 8 life in that game or something. He like paid down to teens. He was at like 15 or 16 again. So the Earth Muscular has only beaten someone when they pay half their life before I get an attack turn.
Wild.
Yeah, so I don't know how good the Earth version is. It's a very bad matchup into Ojiro specifically. Even with learning the standards, it was like not safe. But the life version I've liked a lot just because it has a lot of really cool buttons to press.
Yeah, I prefer life muscular.
Yeah, you get Ruthless Mockery, which seems pretty solid, like partial block the first one. And then the thing I like the most is Frog Kick.
Interesting.
I'm a big fan of adding Frog Kick to the card pool with Quick Creation, and then getting to ready passing the torch. And then the biggest thing for Life Muscular is Young Heroes.
Yeah, that card's messed up.
Yeah, you can actually become like Key Techniques-esque. If you ever had to play against Key Techniques Clark, I don't know if that was like in your...
Nah, I started in Mortal Kombat.
Yeah, so are you familiar with what Clark 1 did?
Yeah, I've played against him.
Yeah, so like he deals damage, he draws a card, right? Key Techniques is just I guess it's a vicious card now, you would know it as, is discard a card for -2 damage. And so in like 2015, the majority of decks were playing 4 damage attacks that sometimes got a damage pump if it was a Robot Masters deck. And this Clark deck would literally just use 8,000 degrees, which is ice gliding but for damage, and Key Techniques and like Wall of Goro to basically just always take 1 damage from everything. And it could do it late into a turn because it would continue to draw cards to discard to Key Techniques every time it took damage. And I thought that was super sick. And we don't have that yet. The closest thing we have is you can passing the torch to keep refilling your hand, and you need like frog kick or something to ready it on the life symbol.
I also like that life gets to the rescue. Like as a 5-hander, like you need
Ooh.
ways to be able to deal with your opponent's defensive pieces, or they're just going to stop your offense.
I did play exactly one of those, and I was like, this will probably need to be more if I ever took this to a tournament.
Yeah. Like, to the rescue is a big selling point for me for the life symbol.
We call that the Tim Keefe card. He was like, I can't play life because I can't touch or good because I can't touch my opponent's stage. Well, now you.
Yeah. Yeah, that card's good. Obviously, Young Heroes, like you said, also lets you do that.
So, I want to talk to you a bit about California as a region. We were talking about Pippa, so we'll talk about California, right? Um, it's my understanding that you guys have a couple locals, but you basically have one like primary local, right?
Yeah, so in Sacramento, we've had Great Escape Games for a long time, which used to be our only local. And now they're running events probably only like 2 weeks, and they're really small. And
Okay.
then we have a store that picked up the game after Crimson Rampage came out. So I think they held their first event the week I was at Gen Con. And they're running events weekly, and we get 8 to 20 people. So that's like our primary locals in Sacramento. I think in the Bay, I don't know how Nick is doing over there. I don't ever actually go out there, even when I say I'm going to.
Mm-hmm.
And then we have a couple other small ones. But yeah, we have one main local, and then like some like little satellite locals that people go to basically for extra plus ultra packs or just more reps.
Gonna need to now, right? We gotta get those butts in the seats. You gotta go play at locals.
Yeah.
um so do you have are you gonna go to more than one pre-release, or are you planning to go to any pre-releases?
So I'm going to the Hammerhead, that main one. I'm going tomorrow. I don't know if it's sealed or draft. And then I will go to the GEG one on Saturday, just because I used to be like the assistant manager at that store. So I buy a lot of my stuff there just to like support that store, even though it's kind of out of the way for me right now. So I'll play in their pre-release on Saturday just to keep like help keep them carrying the game, basically.
Yeah.
I try to pick up stuff there, go to events there.
Yeah, support your
Um,
locals.
yeah. And then there's another one on Sunday. I will probably skip that one. With the bundle packs, the whatever they were called, coming out later, I really don't need extraneous packs.
Right.
So I'll probably call it at 2 pre-releases. But yeah, I'll go to 2 of them probably.
Okay. I'm hoping to hit 2 myself. I'm not the biggest fan of limited formats. I don't know if
Yeah,
we're
I hate
gonna end
limited.
up. So like my biggest beef is I don't even know what we're gonna do until I get there and like we vote on it. I don't know if it's gonna be draft or sealed or how many packs or what. Like there's not been a lot of great info.
I guess I can look it up right now.
like when I was at my locals last week or on Sunday, I guess, they've got a big TV, right? And it flashes all the events this week, including our MHA locals and like the price to sign up and stuff like that. But they don't have one set up with the pre-release because they don't know what format it's going to be. They don't know if it's draft. They don't know if it's 6 packs or 8 packs or, they just don't know yet. And we're like 3 days away because that one I think is supposed to be on Sunday. And so I think you're supposed to do sealed, right? Not draft.
I think last time they also recommended sealed, and all of our stores just ignored them.
Right. So we voted, and the majority of people voted for sealed, which was really depressing.
Yeah, I'm hoping at least one of these 2 will be draft.
Yeah, but
I'll play sealed once, but I hope at least one to miss draft.
Yeah, but like the biggest thing was I don't think we had enough packs to play sealed. Bill did.
Well, I think the recommendation now is only like 6 packs, same number as draft. So
kind of wild. Not gonna lie.
Yeah. I mean, there's no symbols at all, right? You just play the 40 best cards or whatever that you open.
Right. Yeah.
Um,
I'm not the biggest fan of limited formats. I'm an even smaller fan of
yeah, I think sealed takes a lot of the like character or flavor of the game out when you're not
Yes.
worrying about symbols at all. You're just playing the best cards, even if they're cards that normally are designed not to be able to interact with each other.
Yeah, and then I heard some people talking about a set one sealed that they did. They did like set one sealed with 0 symbol chaining. And I was like, oh, and like no ban list, of course, because it's limited. Like,
Yeah.
you're not just gonna screw someone who opens frog lashings. So I was like, oh, it's just whoever opens frog lashing wins, right? And it was like, no, it's actually the person who opens coordinated effort because we forgot about that card.
Yeah.
So like, Harding Jab's a common, by the way. And so it did not sound like the most fun, but it was probably a cool experience. So like that's all I'm looking for. I just want to have a cool experience, but I don't know what experience I'm gonna get until I show up there tomorrow.
Sure.
And
yeah, I should probably figure out what my draft strategy is just in case it's draft.
It's muscular. It's muscular.
Is it? You have to have a backup plan though.
I guess
You gotta
so,
have
yeah.
two plans. You gotta have two plans.
Like if it's sealed, it's 1000% muscular. Right?
Well, if that's if you can pick any character. What if it's sealed? Then you get like a random character plus whatever you open.
Oh, then I'm going home.
Then you just basically have to rank the characters.
That's actually terrible, honestly.
Like it's like that would be like what muscular.
If you could play all for one,
Shigaraki,
can you get all
like,
for one in this random character sealed?
Probably not. Well, maybe if they use draft. Well, so they probably won't even give you those in the thing because they're trying to push sealed now, not draft. In the like set one, you definitely got the starter characters as draft options because they're traditionally available.
Like how many? We can do this really quick, actually. We can look for how many powerful attacks, powerful keyword attacks. That's in a starter
4.
deck. This one's a rare.
So 3.
This one's an ultra rare. This one's an ultra rare. So nobody's ever gonna kill muscular. Like no one's ever gonna like put a massive dent or bomb muscular. So.
Imagine you're the guy playing muscular and sealed, and your opponent is playing moonfish.
Free counters. We love free counters. Yeah, so the chat's saying that all mine all for one weren't in the kit, so like
yeah, because it's meant for sealed.
Yeah, so like there's not gonna be ultimate combination, of course, because that's a starter deck. If you're not dealing with like all for one just ramping a million momentum, like it's gotta be muscular if it's sealed, and if it's draft, it's either
I could see playing literally every card you open to Dobby 2.
Well, I was gonna say
you don't actually have to read any of them. Just sleeve every card you open and shuffle it.
Well, if they're doing 6-pack sealed, there's almost definitely no symbol chaining. So.
Yeah, there's not supposed to be symbol chaining. Yeah. I would actually, you could just don't even look at your cards. Just sleeve all of them, shuffle them, and play Dobby 2.
Yeah, so I was gonna say it's definitely muscular, and if it's not that, then your backup plan is Dobby 2. Like, he just puts 3 damage on everything.
If you open some good orange, like some solid bombs, Shigaraki 3 is probably also a good call. I mean, actually, you could just play Shigaraki 3 mill.
Unless your opponent is 80 card Dobby.
Yeah, max card Dobby.
What would it be? I guess it's like what? 66?
I mean, you can probably still mill him, right? Or he'll have to like be more careful about his remove enhance, the +3 damage.
I don't think he would need the 3 damage to kill you in that format.
You are a 719, I guess.
Yeah, you're 719, and you get to stun him once per. So I don't know about that one. I think Shigaraki is really cool if they end up with like too many attacks. You can only do so much about checking a 3 on it. But I mean, like this is a limited environment where there's 2 damage attacks you might open.
Yeah.
You know, and it's like we watched it a couple times on stream where it's just like the I forget what it's called, but it's the twice 2 difficulty 2 damage attack versus muscular is just a block. You just don't ever attempt to play.
Yep.
Like,
yeah, I think I would play muscular, or I would probably play Dobby. I think the argument for Dobby is you get to turn those 2 damage attacks into 5 damage attacks.
Right. Yeah. I guess Rivet Stab you get to draw. Oh no, that's in the starter deck.
That's in the starter.
Ooh, well.
All the cool cards are in the starters.
A lot of them are. A lot of my favorites.
All the cards with kinetic in the name are in the starter.
Yeah. All the momentum dealing ones, right? Like all the ones that tutor up momentum.
Yeah, I don't remember if Toga has any.
Toga has like a rare or an ultra rare. Like her ultra rare sends itself. I think she has a rare that sends cards from top of deck that you would not play in draft ever. You'd not do that in the hands probably. But so like my sealed strategy is 100% just to be muscular. If I don't get to pick muscular, I'm just gonna be upset because someone will get muscular, and that's
yeah. My plan A is also to be muscular.
Yeah. So.
Unless I open a ton of low damage attacks, in which case my plan will be to be Dobby too.
Yeah. Yeah. Right. And then those are your 2 options for the most part. I mean,
especially if I opened a cremate and any other blue card.
Yeah, I imagine there'll be plenty of like characters that win. Excuse me. Bad time for yawn. I imagine there'll be plenty of characters who end up winning a pre-release just because people might get random, like you said, they might do it where you just get random characters, and it's not guaranteed that muscular doesn't die and muscular can break and stuff like that, but man, 36 health is just a long time to deal that much damage, and you get stacking damage bonus and foundations.
Or there's just going to be somebody who opens like 3 copies of Twice, a copy of Finger Guns, and like Twice as you are, and that guy's just going to win the event.
Yeah, like someone will get 3 copies of Twice. They'll get like one handed to them and open 2 Twices, and then they get to play Twice. I know someone at my locals, if they get a chance to play Twice, will absolutely. So he's also a popular character.
Yeah, for sure. I think he's probably the most anticipated character from this set.
Yeah. Really interesting. I had never even heard of him until the set came.
Twice?
Yeah.
Out of the characters that didn't already have character cards, which isn't that many of them actually, I think that Twice is probably the most anticipated character.
Oh, okay, yeah. When you put it that way, your options are what? Moonfish, Muscular, Spinner,
like Twice, Compressed, and All for One.
Yeah. And All for One, yeah. I guess All for One was the one I was thinking would be, but
I think All for One is probably the second most anticipated character.
Yeah, All for One is
You don't think people are anticipating Innsmouth?
I didn't know Innsmouth existed, even though I had seen episodes with him. I didn't even know who he is. I only watched the anime up to the end of the fight between All Might and All for One, and I was expecting to recognize more characters here, but I don't recognize anyone except Spinner, All for One, and the characters
you just weren't
who
paying attention.
Huh?
You just weren't paying attention?
I guess so. I just, or characters that already had a character card, like Kurogiri and Toga. Right? But, I didn't know who Moonfish is, Muscular is. Twice I had seen, but I don't remember anything about them.
All these characters make a summer camp appearance.
Yeah, okay. I don't know, I forgot about them.
I mean, that arc is largely overshadowed by the All Might versus One for All fight.
Yeah.
Or All for One fight.
So yeah, it's I think that's your 2 options for winning are Muscular and Dabi, and then the Shigaraki Mill plan is super cute and probably has a decent chance if your locals is your locals is players from a bunch of other card games where they're gonna play 40 card minimum for sure, because a lot of people even in sealed just play like every card that has a useful ability, which is like 90% of them, even if the deck would be better being smaller.
Yeah, I tend to play minimum or right above it in limited formats. Most of my cards are bad, and I don't want to draw. I want to draw the good ones as soon as possible.
Right, that's what I'm saying. It's
Yeah.
I don't play minimum like ever in constructed for this game, but I'm getting closer to because of decks like Denki and Hero, but I'm still always at like at least 51.
Yeah, I play a lot of 55 card decks in constructed. I have a couple 50 card decks, but I mostly play like around 55.
Okay. So we talked a bit about limited. We talked about organized play, promos, and stuff like that. I want to get your final opinions on just a couple things before the end of
Sure.
the podcast here. Who do you think is going to be the best character coming out of League of Villains, the set itself, for competitive play?
Probably Shigaraki 3.
Yeah.
I
Shigaraki.
think, yeah, I think it's probably Shigaraki 3. I think Muscular is a deck that can win a provisional store championship and top regionals for sure.
Mm-hmm.
I also think there is a Dabi 2 deck for sure waiting out there to just like Tokoyami someone. Um,
Yeah.
I don't think it'll be as consistent, but it probably exists. All for One, I like All for One and All Might 6 actually. I have an All Might 6 deck I've been playing.
Ooh, I've not put any time into that character whatsoever.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm playing them on all, basically just for the middle ability.
Oh, for momentum.
To remove a momentum to selectively add the top card of my discard pile to my hand, and then I play a bunch of stuff to try and control what that top card is.
I see what you mean. Okay, yeah. I was thinking it just has the best momentum generation on those symbols.
So that's also true.
You know.
But it all has floating, so you can draw the top card or the fourth card. It has
Hiragiri's throw.
it does. I haven't been playing that recently, but what else does it have? It has another card that makes it. Oh, it has Tetsu not thrashing his other attack. That lets you
Tetsu
draw the top
Fist is
card, the
all.
second card, or the third card.
Oh, Hardened Steel.
Yeah, Hardened Steel. So you can draw the top card, the second card, or the third card.
Okay.
And then you can, if you have a decent card on top, but it's not exactly what you want to draw, with Hardened Steel, you can also go mill one, see if you get a better card, get rid of it if you don't, and then just draw the top card. I think the all symbol has a lot of cool stuff it can do with the middle ability specifically. The bottom ability is whatever, it's +1 hand size,
Right.
which is obviously never bad. And then the top ability, sometimes you get a bunch of damage, sometimes you don't.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of putting bad block mods in my deck, but I sure did fucking play Owl Shield Tim Keefe for 2 events.
Yeah, I didn't do any deck building around that ability except that plus ultra went in my main board. First iteration.
Okay. That's funny
Uh,
as fuck, actually.
yeah.
Flip a +5. Okay, so
I've moved it to the sideboard after that, and just am ignoring that ability for deck building altogether. But
okay, so you got your
yeah,
eye mostly on Shigaraki 3.
yeah, I think Shigaraki 3 is probably the strongest out of these characters, the strongest
Okay.
character.
Have you seen Innsmouth off Evil?
I haven't. I like started building Innsmouth and then just stopped.
Okay. There's an Evil Innsmouth build that I got my ass beat by like 2 different people on stream using. So I've got my eye on this character. It's like Tongue Whip, Amphibious Ambush, Rivet Stab because it's 3 difficulty ranged and draws a card, and Ignited Arrow because if you block it, fuck you. And like it's like a slim ass deck. It plays every evil card draw card, and it plays Creepy Realization, and you just get like super overwhelmed. It has like some of the least interactive hands I've ever seen. It has basically no defense, but as far as like an evil deck, it's the best evil deck I've ever. So
I mean, Evil hasn't been very good recently, right? So like,
Evil's been by far the worst symbol in my opinion.
Yeah, I think that is probably objectively true.
Like all of the things that you could attribute to Evil having like a theme of in this game is like just inconsequentially bad for the most. Its themes are like it pays life or it destroys its own foundations.
Yeah, it's not really very good.
It plays bad checks, but has 0 cards to compensate for bad checks.
Sure. I think my biggest problem with Innsmouth is that he's a 6-hander who uses the cards in his hand as a resource.
Oh yeah, it's 100% like a feast or famine style deck, and I don't think it's gonna be until someone really cracks the code. It's gonna be like a run hot to top cuts kind of a deck. But it's definitely one that makes me wonder if not wrong about that, because I put like Tokoyami in like my second tier, my A tier instead of my S tier for Nats, and that was just slightly wrong. It's definitely S tier, but
yeah, that guy's a 7-hander that sure doesn't use his hand as a resource though.
Right, Shigaraki's like the opposite, but Shigaraki gets blown up by tongue whip. So
a lot of characters get blown up by tongue whip.
yeah, like so
it's a pretty long list actually. In fact,
any
this last week
7-hander.
I was playing Backdraft and killed my opponent with tongue whip.
Yeah, so it's yeah, man. And by some point, you just end up with 6 cards in your card pool, and this tongue whip is 13 damage. It's happening. It could happen to you. It happened to me.
Yeah, it could happen.
The other character that I guess I want to talk about is Dobby 2, because there's a lot of people are hot on this character and a lot of people who are cold on this character, and sometimes I see it, sometimes I don't.
Yeah, I haven't put any time into deck building him, but he's a 7-hander that adds stats.
A lot. He adds a lot of damage.
Yeah, he adds, if the game doesn't go late, he adds 3 damage for free. And then he can, like, you can be a little greedy on one. You're a 7-hander, so playing heavy on actions doesn't necessarily mean you're going to get dicked.
Right.
And then he can swap those actions to get the action he wants.
Mm-hmm.
So I think he's probably very good. I just haven't spent any time deck building with him.
Yeah, one of the biggest things for me is you have like on-demand capture evildoers to just really shut out momentum-hungry strategies. And that's been like my experience as Shigaraki 3 is I'll get like 1 momentum finally, and then Dobby will just steal it on his own turn. Shit like that just boils my blood. And like so many strategies I like, and like Electric Jolt just being like one of the strongest cards of all time is just the kind of thing that Dobby can ignore a lot of the time. He might not get the first enhance capture evildoers, but he'll make you spend it. And then he's one of the best users of it as far as clearing his card pool because of that +3 damage. So it's definitely a weird deck to build. And I'm really curious what other people have like built for him, because I've made like 10 Dobby decks like on stream now at this point, and I've tested out like a handful of them, and it seems like the greedier you are, the better it performs. It's actually really gross.
You mean just on like your action count?
Yeah, like I went from like 7 actions out of like a 54 card deck to like 14 actions out of a 60 card deck, and it just performs so much better.
Yeah. So you get to play a bunch of blue cards, and because you're a 7-hander, like unless you brick twice going first, your build is probably all right.
Well, you've got the symbols for it for the most part now. Like all has some great 0 diffs now. All gets easily excited.
Yeah.
All symbol gets floating around my babies, which turns on ignite. So if you're not like super focused on Sugar Rush, like it can bite you in the ass. But Fire has had, so the other thing was like I normally play like 2 or 3 latent skill in like a really aggressive deck that has no defense. And this deck that I'm playing with now, it's like it wants to run like a copy of Coping or two and 4 latent skill and 4 calling for backup, and it wants to just find gas. Because if you find Twisting Azure Inferno, you can just play like every card in your hand a lot of the time.
Yeah, it's a pretty fucked up card actually.
It is a super fucked up.
Yeah, Twisting Azure Inferno is pretty nuts. It's the reason I should have played Granite in Dallas.
That's so gross, actually. Never fail a Gretchen check ever.
Correct.
I should have. Oh no, I didn't even think about that. I could have played Twisting Azure Inferno with Reki Meki, dude.
Yeah, it's also sick.
Oh man, I missed out.
Yeah,
now I'm never gonna get to play Standard ever again.
You missed out on that, just like you missed out on borrowing Nick's Taki deck, and you got
True.
stuck with it.
That's also
Whatever
sad.
it was, you got
I
stuck
ended up
with.
having to play no revoke, 1 check no. And I still would have topped, actually. But I was doing commentary the next. Yes, Stronger in Darkness was clearly the problem. So then, do you think anyone else? My last question for you, Colby, is: do you think any older characters really see a huge benefit? Like of the older characters, who do you think is going to be a menace in competitive play going forward?
I think Ojiro 2 is probably just going to keep being gross.
Flap and cheek.
Yeah, the character has way too much gas and absolutely no breaks.
It's so scary to me. Like an Ojiro will build 5 foundations turn 1, and he'll just check a 5, check a 5, check a 5, and he like once per turns right and picks up an attack, and I'm like, man, I've like barely survived his first 3 attacks, and now he has nothing committed. Like he's played 3 attacks and like has committed nothing against me, and I'm about to get hit for a second time by whatever attack he picked up.
I don't think Mineta 2 is going to win anything, but I think that character will continue to terrorize Swiss.
Okay. He's pretty good at slowing down Dobby too, actually. He has done a pretty good job.
Is good.
The when it comes to Mineta 2, that's the kind of deck you can just like slap together a rough draft and just punish the average 7-hand.
Yeah. Or you can steal lunch from me and Chris Smith.
Oof.
At Nationals. by refusing my intentional draw and then drawing anyway.
Wild.
Jiro, I think that character is gonna continue to be like a menace until something gets done about her, if ever.
Usual suspects.
Yeah, like I mean, she puts stats on stuff at response speed and for no cost.
True. It's almost like every card is Summon Dark Shadows.
Yeah, the cost that is the conditions also becomes less and less of a cost as the game gets more sets, because the card pool, you just get to like filter in better and better charge or weapon attacks.
Hey, they did it now. They did it right. The last 2 sets have had totally shitty charge attacks for Jiro. Okay?
Yeah, eventually that won't happen.
You know, Jet Kickback is a terrible card. Black Hole Void is not for her.
Eventually that won't happen, Sam. Eventually one will get through.
Well, I would like to see some good charge attacks so I can play Denki again. That would be nice. A character who's also super fucked up if he's any kind of good.
Yeah. I really like Kamui Woods. I haven't built him at all in set 4, but
just be Asui instead.
But Asui doesn't have the Earth symbol.
I guess that's the trap. Is like Earth Kamui isn't as good as Water Kamui, but if you were gonna do Water Kamui, it would just be Asui.
Yeah, I don't know if that's true that Earth Kamui isn't as good as Water Kamui.
I also like the infinite hand size hack with Nervous Habit. Or no, Pay Squabble. Pay Squabble.
Yeah, with Petty Squabble. Yeah, I'm going to stop putting damage on these things. I'm just going to draw instead. Do you want to block them?
Yeah. All right. So the usual. What about Midnight? Do you think Midnight is something that we're gonna see a lot of people play just because it won Worlds?
Uh, I think you'll probably see a number of people play. I think it will terrorize people's store championships.
Yeah.
Um, I don't know how many people will continue to play it though. Um, like I don't. She's kind of weird, right? Because when you look at her, she doesn't seem like a super high skill ceiling character. Like on paper, she has commit a foundation, change stats, and she has commit herself, replace cards in your hand. Um, and on chaos, you can probably try and like no brain this character, I guess.
Hey, sometimes you just
Um,
draw 1.3 million.
yeah, sometimes your opponent builds all but one. Um, but I think people will play her, uh, lose a couple locals, not put any more time into her and move on.
Yeah, I don't
Uh,
think it's a super straightforward deck unless your opponent like fails to kill you in the backswing super easy.
yeah, I think there's a lot of failure points for Midnight. If you're playing Chaos and you're used to playing like Chaos Tokoyami, I think you could, or other aggressive to Chaos decks like Denki One, you could bait yourself into going in way harder than you should with that character, um, based on the board state.
Yeah. Also, for what it's worth, I think Midnight's worst matchup in that whole bracket, because again, like Midnight won a 32 person event, right? It wasn't like a massive field of random decks.
Sure.
Because we talked about it actually at Pasadena or right before, right after something when I was doing the podcast. And I think I was talking to Kevin actually about it after he won Pasadena, where Midnight was just ready to fuck up a format as soon as Earth decks playing single keyword attacks could fuck off. You know, like as soon as Kirishima 2 would fuck off, she could like dominate a lot of the other decks, and including giving Momo a run for her money was sort of the subject at the time. Um, but like Toga playing single keyword punches, Hiroshima
Yeah,
2 playing single keyword punches, and Ojiro playing, single or no keyword attacks was kind of an issue for her. And it took like a 32-person bracket where I don't think Kevin had to fight any Ojiros because there was only two day two or three day two.
um,
There was a handful. It wasn't like
so I cannot remember what his top four opponent was. Do you know what he played against in
um
top four?
top four was Recovery Girl, I think.
Okay, so
But
what
that
did he
was
play?
top eight. Because
That was that was
Recovery
top.
Girl got fifth, I think.
Yeah, it was top eight. So I don't know what he played in top four.
Top four was the only non-Giro left.
Yeah.
Oh, top four was Bird.
Okay. So yeah, so
Bird
you didn't have to
also
play
has
Ojiro
three
at all, right?
keywords per attack.
Yeah. Yeah. So he dodged Ojiro.
Yeah,
Um,
so he managed to dodge all the single keyword attacks for the most part, right? Um, the recovery roll matchup, I don't know how bad it is, but apparently it's pretty bad. And I think the recovery roll also got like very bad luck on drawing attacks, is what I heard. So like, it's the kind of thing where it's the kind of
I
thing where I don't think it's a deck to bandwagon at all.
no, I agree. Yeah, I would. I mean, that's a lot of decks. Like, unless a deck is a turn two aggro deck or turn three aggro deck, you probably shouldn't bandwagon it unless
Right.
you're going to put a ton of time in on like figuring the deck out. Because all of the decks that aren't just play orange card, turn gray card sideways to pass orange card, um, do some bullshit to ready them. Anything that isn't doing that probably has some line of play that you need repetition
Mm-hmm.
or
Yeah.
practice playing.
So I would struggle to think that Midnight got a ton of stuff from League of Villains either. Like the close, like she gets another zero diff that readies itself, I guess.
She gets all
You
for one
know,
stuff. The stuff has to be good, right?
huh?
I said she gets a bunch of random all for one stuff. These cards are all silly.
Yeah. So like,
I guess they
ultimate
only have two
combination has
keywords
three
each, though.
keywords.
Yeah, and the rest only have two or one.
Yeah. Could be interesting, could be good enough. I'm not totally sure. Uh I guess that's about it for tonight. We talked about everything I really wanted to talk about, which was mostly that organized play stuff because I feel like I do not have the average player's experience, right? So I wanted to
Sure.
get someone who's had a ton of experience, who's had a ton of great results at tournaments to come on and talk about it. So thank you for giving your perspective on that stuff, Colby.
Yeah, you're welcome.
I guess this is sort of the end of it. Do you have any shout outs you want to give out to anyone or any events we might see you at in the future?
Yeah, I'll shout out Unfun Stuff. Chris is sponsoring me this year, and I actually was considering passing on playing this year altogether.
Ooh.
Before he offered to sponsor me. Falling one game short of qualifying for HLC left me in like kind of a shitty place mentally with this game.
Yeah, I can relate.
Yeah.
I can
So
relate.
shout outs to Chris and Unfun Stuff. And then yeah, like the first event you'll see me at, unless you're on the West Coast and happen to be at a provisional store championship I'm at, is I'll play in the online regional and then Pasadena. Like I'm not going to either Kansas City or Florida. Um,
No
Florida's just way too
oceanic,
expensive.
no
I
oceanic
actually,
time zones.
so I actually took that day off when they announced it was webcam, and then finally got around to canceling that day off today. Now that I can't qualify, like I don't think the promos are. I mean, that is the first event, so they. But who knows how long it'll take to get them right? Chances are that the people who play in Florida will flip them before I could flip them.
Interesting, yeah.
So playing just to flip the promos, I don't really want to spend a vacation day for that. I only have X number of vacation days per year, and we don't know what the back half of the tournament schedule looks like. That's actually probably my biggest complaint about Jasco is not being able to put out a tournament schedule. I get that you have to find a venue or whatever,
They
but
did
even a rough timetable of
they did better this year, right?
that
With the
definitely better
regionals.
this year already.
Like we've got
But
6 events scheduled. The
yeah,
2 are overseas, 2 are webcam.
yeah, so definitely better. And like we know Gen Con's a regional, they've confirmed that.
Yeah,
But I can't remember how many vacation days I have exactly because I have one or two that I carried over. But I have somewhere around 15 vacation days, and I don't know when I have to spend them in the second half of the year.
right.
Like if an event's in October or early November, I have 2 vacation days I can only use in that window. So that'll be easy. But if there's not an event in that time period, then I need to save real vacation days for that event.
Right.
Um,
I get that. Well, I do hope to see you around. I hope to
yeah,
see you at those events. Hopefully, I'll be casting at least some of them. I do want to play, but I feel like I'll have more opportunities to play than to do commentary unless I focus on commentary, right, and really kind of be vocal about that. So that is something I'm hoping to do. You did mention Unfun Stuff. Really, really cool to have you on the team. Really happy to see the second year for the Unfun Stuff brand. We're gonna hopefully be a bit more organized this year. Have a bit more in the works, like as an actual team and branding. But you guys can use the code plugin over at unfunstuff.com to pre-order your League of Villains boxes and save 5%. That is something you can do, as well as the referral code ACE for the UGN, play.mhacardgame.com. You'll get 50 free loyalty points just for signing up as a new player and get bonus loyalty points at your first 2 events. And then this Saturday, I'm going to be doing a full set review with the Chamber TCG. We're going to be going over every card in League of Villains, is my understanding of it. So we're going to be doing that, I think, 5 or 6 p.m. Pacific time, sometime in the afternoon. And then also, I've got something special here, guys. I've got first edition boxes of League of Villains that Jasco sent me that I'm going to probably be doing a box opening of on Saturday. So I might do it before the pre-release. I don't know if Unfun Fridays is actually running tomorrow or if we're going to be doing like a pre-release stream or whatever. But the next 2 days, keep an eye out for notifications in my Discord because I'm probably going to be doing an unboxing of these live on stream. So this will be the first chance I get to actually hold League of Villains cards because I didn't get to play at the premiere event at HLC. So keep an eye out for that, please. Go make sure your new players are registering at UGN. Make sure that you use all the different codes to save as much money as you can. Other than that, I don't think I've got any other news. Let's see. Yeah, Unfun Fridays might be tomorrow. I don't know. I'm not 100% sure. Normally I plug that, but if it is, I'll be doing commentary for Unfun Fridays.
See.
And other than that, go play your pre-releases, guys.